Hey everybody, welcome to our seminar. So glad you guys are here. The seminar is about leveraging generative AI for photography with Photoshop. So what does it mean? Let's demystify that. Before that, I want to ask you a question. Anybody heard about Adobe Firefly or generative AI within 2024 Photoshop? You can just raise your hand. Wow, I see. Well, five people heard about it. Who never heard about it? Okay, that's okay. You never heard about it. It's okay as well. That's why we have this seminar trying to explain how to use generative AI in Photoshop as a photographer or even as a designer. So what I prepared over here, general information that you see on the screen, and then basically talking about what are we going to do today. So we're going to look at generative fill to change sections of a photo with a text prompt, or generative expand to change and enlarge a photo by adding content, background, or just enlarging it. So we're going to have it's kind of introduction. If you guys use Photoshop before, it will make a little bit more sense. If you never used Photoshop before, you can just follow me, look at my screen. This time, I did not prepare for you any images because you can use your own images. So I would use my images, and then I'm going to let you just try with your own images and see what you are getting. Because when we create a prompt anyway, we're never going to get the same thing while we're working. So let me move back to another thing. It was going to be like a nice experience, like to push the creativity while we're using generative AI. And this is something that I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because a lot of people keep saying that it's not creative enough and it is going to stall your creativity. And the way I look at it, it's just the other way around. It just gives you some kind of push to be more creative, and then you get some images that giving you some idea for what else would you like to use while you're using Photoshop. So sometimes I'm looking at it as like inspiration, if you want to say, right? Kind of like inspire me, what would I like to do? And sometimes it will help me to do stuff faster if I needed to create anything and then show a client kind of like maybe a variation that I might do later within Photoshop, and then that will help me a lot. So the other question, which I didn't ask you, how many of you use Photoshop before? Just raise your hand. Okay, not bad. How many never opened Photoshop before? Okay, and then in between, I see some people waving their hand like something in between, which is okay. If you never used Photoshop before, it'll be a little bit harder to follow. Just follow and then watch the recording and then go and do it with your own images. If you used Photoshop before, it will make a lot of sense while we're starting to work. So what am I going to do? We're going to go in and look at generative AI within Adobe Photoshop, and then it's going to be generative fill, generative expand, and improved remove tool. The remove tool is not part of the generative AI. It's basically part of the machine learning tools. So it was something that figure out what's going on in your image, and you can start removing stuff a lot easier than you using the remove tool within Photoshop. And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do like a surprise thing. We're going to look at the visually guided text prompt. What does it mean? We'll create an image with a brush, and I have image that I already created, or actually a friend of mine created. We're going to set the background and the foreground to a default, and with a certain way, we'll create something that will tell generative AI how to behave. This is not something that I invented. This is not something that I wrote. I just learned about it, and I would like to give the full credit to my friend AJ Wood, which is Adobe Senior Solution Engineer. And then he showed it to us during Adobe Max, and he learned it from another friend that he is a master Photoshop guru, which is Jesus Ramirez, which I have some links for both of them if you like to follow them later. And I'm going to go back to the end. If we have time, I'm going to do kind of like a general information about Firefly. I did that already before, like 4 months ago. And then we have the recording on our website. So if you want to go and look at that. And then I have important links about Adobe Sensei, about a different kind of blogs, Adobe Generative Fill, and a blog about Adobe, about generative AI in general. Another thing that I'd like always to show and kind of mention that I do have a Behance channel, so you can always follow me on Behance. If I'm going to go back to the area over here, my Behance channel is www.behance.net/HannahArt or HannahArt. And then if you go there, you will see some of my videos there as well. And I'm talking a lot about Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and generative AI. So without any further ado, let's start, right? Anybody has any question? And whenever you have any question, I will repeat the question again so we can record the question, and then I will answer the questions. So are you guys ready? Cool. I see everybody is raising their hands. They're happy. You have your laptops in front of you. Make sure you look at few images that you took before, and then you can use the images while I'm doing the stuff that I'm going to show you. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going into Photoshop over here. It is Photoshop 2024. So I want to make sure you know that it's Photoshop 2024. So all the newest kind of like features are in Photoshop 2024. And yes, they are updating it all the time. So whenever you need to hear about any updates, highly recommend that you go in and update right away. So I'm going to go in and open something. And in my recent one that I have, let me see. Okay, I don't have that right now. So I'm going to open, and then I'm going to my folder that I have, and then I'm going to sample of projects, just two simple ones. And I'm going to open the first one. And really, we're going to look at it kind of step by step. This is not mind-blowing image, but what do I have right now here? First of all, in terms of the UI, you see we do have a new panel. And this one is the contextual taskbar. If I turn it off all the way down from the menu bar, it's not going to be there. By default, it's always there, but it's never all the way up here like mine, because I actually put it in there. If I'm resetting the position, by default, it's always all the way down when you open an image, and it gives you some information to start doing certain things directly through this taskbar. I don't like it all the way down. So what I did with it, I basically went in and I moved it all the way up here to the upper left corner, and then I pinned it. And that's why you saw it on this position on my. If I'm not going to change the position today, it is going to stay there. If I'm not going to change it tomorrow, it is going to stay there as well. But let's check out what's going on with this image. I'm going to go to my layers panel. And then I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key and click on the first layer that I have. And basically, this is the first layer. And you can see it says Group 1. So what does it mean, what I have over here? Maybe I did something else with it over here. You can see that it is a smart object. So if I'm going to double click on the smart object, everything is going to open here. And now I can start looking what I did with this image. So that was the original image that I opened. And I think it was from Adobe Stock. I purchased the image. I have it over here. And then I basically went in and retouched it a little bit. So you can see all the way in the middle over here, there's some kind of retouching things that I have. If I want to retouch a little bit more, I can actually go in here now and do some other retouching. So that will be the first thing that I'm going to do. I can go to the healing spot tool, I can go to the healing brush, but I'm going to go to the remove tool. This is the new tool. And then I'm going to click on it, and you can see all the way up in the option bar, it tells me right away, because I clicked on it, sample all layers. So here is a thought. Whenever you have anything that says sample all layers in your option bar, it tells Photoshop that you can actually open an empty layer and do certain kind of effect to an empty layer while looking at the sample for the layer below. So it gives me kind of like a position of have more non-destructive stuff, almost like kind of a reverse engineering. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to open a new layer, and I'm going to call the new layer remove. I don't know what I want to remove yet, but I'm going to go to the remove tool. I have a brush size over here, and I'm going to go in, and maybe I want to remove these flowers around this area over here. And look at that. Basically, I already removed it. I'm going to do it again. And look at this. I have that, and if I'm looking at the option bar, clicking on the visibility button, basically this is what I removed right now. Not bad, right? I can do it with a healing brush. I can do it with the clone tool, but that takes a lot longer. And this is not a bad job over here. I'm healing the area that I have here, and the machine learning will think about it and take away this stuff. I can go over the other area. Look at this. I'm fixing it right now. Fixing it right now. And now I have some part of the area that I'm basically removing, and it might look a little bit better over here. So you can see the before and after. So the shortcut that I clicked on, if you hold on the Option or Alt key and click on a visibility button, you basically can isolate the layer automatically and just see what you did on this layer. But what else do I have here? Because I did some other stuff here. And you can see over here, I basically did something and I called it Christmas light. And if I turn it on, you can see that I have something called Christmas light. And if I'm going to my properties panel, this is what I did in Generative AI. I selected the area all the way on the left corner, and then my prompt was Christmas lights, simple prompt. And now I have the variation. I can have a tree that looks like this one that you see in front of you. I can have the tree that I used, and I can have this tree that it's kind of hard to look, but I'm going to use the tree that I used before. So when you are using prompt in generative AI, it stays there the whole time. So I can do another prompt and another prompt. It never goes away until you take it away. And if I hold on the Option or Alt key, basically this is what I have over here. And then if I click on it, I change the opacity. If I make it 100% opacity and hold down now the Option key, basically this is what generative AI did. So one thing I want to explain, it takes the stuff from the environment and leaves some leftovers with it. So if you really want it now just a tree, as a good selection, that's when the selection in Photoshop come in and you have to do a selection. So you still need to know a lot of Photoshop while you're working generative AI. Then I have another layer and then I kind of like edit something. And you see here, I wrote layer, and what did I put in this layer? I don't know. Why did I name it? I probably cloned it. So I'm going to call and name it clone. And then I have something that I call it brick and flowers. So I'm going to turn it on. And now I have the brick area all the way up there, kind of like a brick area that goes into the landscape. And then I have something with landscape, and I called it landscape faded. So I basically went down here, and then I had some other stuff that I worked with. And if I'm going to my properties, I still see the stuff that I had. So you can see different kind of things that I had before. And I ended up putting another color on top of it, which is I used UN saturation. And this is why I kind of put it in a folder, and I created a layer mask with it. Then I have the statue over here. Basically, I just changed the color. And then I have some other adjustment to the buildings. And then I had something for the sky. And maybe I went into the sky and I did some sky replacement, and then did another sky on top of it. And I had another group, which again, I didn't name it, but I should have called it photo filter. And then once I have that, I'm doing one save because that was a smart object. And if I'm jumping over to my landscape itself, you can see the image. And on top of the image, I try to do other stuff. So I have something that I did in Capture. I have something that I cloned to fix the flowers. I have something that I open a wreath from my library. I opened and I had a little ribbon that I put it on top of the tree. Had another a rectangle, and I created a frame, and I wrote happy holiday season. But you can see that I took something, and from that I went in and changed it. I have another one over here, and let me go back here and close that. And now I'm going to go into File and Open. And in the same area, I have something that it's actually not even a Photoshop file anymore, but I have me and my friends sitting in a simple restaurant. And now you can see I decided to give us a little bit better food and better environment. So what do you guys think? Isn't it cool? So you already saw the remove tool that I removed some stuff. But now let's dive in to Generative Fill and see what we can do over here. So I'm going to go to File and Open. And I'm going to go into a simple kind of image. And then I'm going to double click over here. And I have different kind of images. And I'm going to open an image of an actress. And you can see that I have it here. And then what I wanted to do with it, I basically first want to duplicate it. And then I want to go in and change her clothes because maybe she needs to show somebody different views that she had, but she didn't have enough money. So what she did is took one sitting only, and now we're going to change her shirt maybe to different things. So I'm going to go back here and name the layer original. And then I'm just going to go into the before. I'm just naming it original over here. And I'm going to start to work. So I'm going to go to the original, and I'm duplicating the layer. Command or Control J, I'm duplicating. I don't want to touch the original right now. So to make sure, I went in and duplicated it. I'm going to go to my object selection tool. And I'm going to click and drag, and not with this one, because the object selection tool, it's my mistake, is usually works either with a rectangle or with the lasso tool. Because yesterday I worked with the lasso tool, it stayed there and I forgot. So always look at your option bar. It will inherit the last thing that you just did. So pay attention. Any questions so far? Are we all good? So what does it mean? The selection tool. If you guys never used Photoshop before, you need to isolate an area, and we have different kind of selection tool. I'm choosing to go to my object selection tool, which is also a machine learning tool. So it will think for you and take and it call it all the way up in your option. You see it says object finder. It will go in and find your object that you have. All the way to the right, when you see the little gear icon, you can set additional option. And you can say, I always want to see the overlay when I'm working. So if I go over it, you can see some kind of an overlay, and the machine say, uh-oh, this is what I want to select maybe. The default usually it is, I think it is magenta. I just changed it to green because the other day I worked with magenta images, but any color that you want, and then you can decide on the outline that you want to work. You can have the outline that it's kind of heavier, or you can have just conservative outline, which is a very small one, which is, this is the one that I usually do. Then you can say auto show overlay, always show overlay if you want, or never show overlay. It's really up to you. A lot of people that I know do the auto show overlay. So it's not always there, but it's there when you need it. So now with this tool, I don't need to click on the area exactly. I'm just going to tell the machine, think about the shirt. And it's thinking a little bit, and look what I have over here. It was thinking about the shirt right now. It took pieces of her hair, which I don't want, and I think she has part of the shirt all the way to the left that it didn't take. The way I work, you don't have to work like this. I'm the old-fashioned Photoshop user. I usually go into select and I'm going to save my selection just in case I lose it, and I'm going to call it shirt. And I always do that. I save it to the channel panel just in case I didn't do a good selection and somebody deselected it. But now what else can I do here? I can go in and hold on the shift key to add to the selection and tell the machine to take the other part of the shirt. And then I'm going to hold down the option key and say, you know what? I really don't want the earring. And I kind of don't want this earring over here. And if it doesn't do a good job, that's okay too, because I can go in and fix it in a second. The best way for me, I'm going to go to select and mask. And in select and mask, in the view mode, I'm basically going to go into my overlay that I have and make the overlay a little darker. And now I can see what I don't want. Really, what I don't want is the hair. So I'm going to go to the brush and I'm going to go to a minus, and you can see it is going away and then is going away, and I don't have the stuff over here. And then if I want to add some stuff around the shirt, I'm going to go and add that. And in this case, you can see I'm doing kind of like selecting it. So you need to know how to select some stuff in a good way. And then over here, maybe I don't want to have this table over here, but I'm going to make it into a selection. And now what it is in a selection over here, I'm going to say that I don't want this part of the table over here. So once again, I can hold down the Option or Alt key and take it away. And you can see I don't have this part of the table and it all looks okay. And I'm going to select Save Selection. And I'm going to resaving the shirt. And you saw I have another shirt from before. Now what I'm going to do is, you can see it says Generative Fill all the way up here in your contextual bar. And I'm going to go in and click and say something. You're going to get a dialog box that telling you Generative AI in Adobe. You can create in a new way with Generative AI technology. asking you to agree so you know you're agreeing, and then you can say that you use generative and AI. I'm agreeing. I was thinking, what if I didn't agree, right? And I'm going to click and say something. So I'm going to say silk shirt with roses. I'm just making it up. And then I'm just going to go in here and the machine start to think. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it is slower. At the moment, we are okay. And look what happened over here. Kind of a mess completely. But I'm going to go back here and she is holding roses and she have a silk shirt. I don't really like it. So I'm going to go and say colorful shirt with flower prints. Let's say if I get something a little bit better to create something that I really want to use to show the client that this person had another kind of shirt. And here it is. Wow, I have the color over here. And then I do have a shirt over here. I have another shirt with stripes and another shape with colors that I have over here. So which one shall we use over here? So I do have the shirt over here with the stripe. Maybe I'm going to go in and use that. And this is the shirt that I want to go in and use right now in my variation that I have. So I can go back here and look at the stuff before and after, and I have some kind of variation for it while I am working in generative AI. What do you guys think? Try something like this and try the same prompt, and you'll see over here that everybody is getting a different kind of prompt over here completely. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer. And then I'm going to create another prompt over here. So I have the two prompts. So I duplicated the layer. But now what I need to do is also duplicate the source image that it went from. So I'm duplicating the original again and putting that below the other area. So what do I have right now? I have my original. I do have a silk shirt with roses. And this one, I'm going to group Command G. And this one has maybe the stripes. So if I'm looking here, you can see I have the stripe underneath it. And that's the stripe. And then I'm going to go into the next one, hold on the Shift key and copy and group it. And I'm going to call it flowers. So what did I really do? You always need, if you duplicate and you want to do another variation, you really need to duplicate the original when it comes from, so it has something to relate to. Otherwise, you're going to see something as weird as that. And I'm going to show you what you're going to see. If I'm just going to go to the generative AI, this is basically what you're getting. You're getting what the machine selected. You can fix it a little bit right now to get a better selection, but you need to have the reference to it. So now I want to go to my client. Let me just save it. I'm going to do File, Save As, and then I'm going to go back here and say before and after underscore model. And I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file. So I'm saving it. Do you guys had any questions so far? Yes. Yeah. So the question was, why am I duplicating the other image? And the answer is, like I said, to have a reference. Because basically with generative AI is not really selecting the area perfectly and putting in it something. It's basically you have a reference, and to the reference, you make some changes. And this is why I did that. But now what I want to do is I really want to go in and show you a before and after. So I'm going to go to do my before and after in a different way. I'm going to go into actually my crop tool. And then the thing that I'm going to pay attention right now with the crop tool is all the way up in my control. I want to have it into my transparent default because I do have a layer over there. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go in and actually, you know what? I'm going to do it a little bit in a different way. And we're going to do the crop a little bit different. So I'm not going to use the crop tool for a minute. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go to the stripes that I have over here. And then I'm going to my move tool. I'm going to make sure that auto select layer is on. I'm going to turn off the top layer, make sure I'm on this group that says stripes. And then I'm going to click and drag the group that I have. And I want to make sure that auto select group is on. You see what I just did? That was a little mistake. I did auto select on to the top group, but then I moved to the bottom group. The auto select relates each layer individually. So if you forget, you have to go back to it. So I went to auto select group all the way up in my option. I'm going in and holding down the move tool, and I'm going to clicking and dragging the image that I have. And now I'm going to go to image and I'm going to say reveal all. So look what happened when I do reveal all. I basically I have a before and after. I might even go in and give it a little space. An image and reveal all. I use that sometime instead of using the crop tool when I want to show a before and after in one image. Now I'm going to go into the flower. Once I go into the flower, I'm basically going to click on the group and I'm going to drag and drop it all the way until I don't see it. And I'm going to go to image and reveal all. And then if I want to see it a little bit better, I'm going to go in and give it a space and then image and reveal all. And look what I have all of a sudden. I do have the 3 images over here, and I use that in generative AI, generative fill. Could I have go in and of course select the image and copy and paste stuff and place it into it? Absolutely. Can I do a clipping and then put in some stuff there in the shirt and show a client how it's going to work? Of course you can. But if I need something like this for inspiration and need to do it pretty fast, look how fast I did it. And I didn't even need to look for images. Then a client can say, you know what? I have a piece of material that I want you to put in there that I scanned yesterday. That's a different thing. Then I'm going to take the piece of material, bring it to Photoshop, select the shirt that I have, and go in and do either a clipping or a paste into and have it inside the area that I have. Can I also do some other stuff with it? Absolutely. I can hold on the Option or Alt key and duplicate the other flower girl. And I'm going to go again to reveal all. And I might go back and make it, I'm going to go in here, make the spacing a little bit better, and look at my reveal all of a sudden. It's so much better. But now I do want to go back here, and then you can see that I have the shirt over here. And then I can go to my properties, and then I can have this one right now too. So I have another way, and I have another kind of flower, because being generative fill, I got that. But maybe I don't want the flower right now. So I might go and say silk shirt. That's it. I'm going to make silk shirt. We'll see what I'm going to get instead of the one that I just had. Not sure I'm going to get something. Maybe I'm going to get something nice or maybe nothing. We'll see. And a lot of time, look what I got over here. I just got a silk shirt. And then if I zoom into it, I can see the material. This shirt with the stripe looks a little bit better. And this one look kind of silky over here, and I got it nicely. So this one is the copy, and it is a silk shirt, but maybe I want to have it a little bit different. So I might go to hue and saturation, and then I'm going to colorize it, and look what happened. By default, this is what I'm getting. Everything is kind of colorizing it, but I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key to clip it just to the silk shirt. And now when I'm going into my hue and saturation, I'm going to try to go in and make the shirt. And you can see it does it just to the area that I have. And I have the silk shirt just to the area. If I wanted to make it just to the shirt, I could have gone in and opened the area over here and basically just clip it to my area over here. And then I'm just going to go and clip it just to the shirt. So holding down the Option key, I clicked to the shirt itself, and voila, look what I have here. I'm going to zoom in, and then I'm going to go to my full screen mode, and look what I have here. I have an option to show a client, here it is, your headshot. You're looking pretty good, but do you want to have different kind of shirts? And then if you want to give me the material of the shirt, of course I can select the area and I can paste into or do a clipping. But this is just inspiration, and you might like it. And you can go in and say, you know what? I really like the way it looks. Let me put it somewhere, and then people can see how I'm looking with different kind of shirts and things like this. What do you guys think? I know you guys are smiling. Some of you are trying. Let me see for a minute. Let you try for a second, and then I can either walk around or you can start showing each other what you did. It's going to be really cool and a nice collaboration. And maybe you want to post it later also on our site or post it on Instagram and go in and tag the Annenberg Digital Lounge to say, look what I learned today. I learned to change some stuff with dress. So now this is it, right? So this is part one that we're doing. Let's go in and do another thing. And I might go back here and then just do File and Open. And then in this case, I'm going to go in to my Photoshop images, and then I'm going to go and click on the house over here and see what I want to do with this one. So in this one, we're going to do a few things. One thing is, first, I'm going to duplicate. No matter what, I'm always duplicating something. And then I'm going to open a new layer, and I'm going to go in and say remove. I'm going to remove some areas from this image. And once again, I'm going to use the remove tool over here. And then I can go to a brush and make the brush a little bit bigger. I can also make the opacity so that you can see a little bit more the area that you're drawing. And I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger. And I don't want to have this little area around here. So I'm circling it around, and look what I have over here. So this is what I got before and after. If I'm looking at the layer, this is what I have over here. I can go into the same layer, or I can also go to different kind of layers. So basically what I'm doing is, if I don't want to put everything in the same layer, I'm going to open another layer. And I'm going to call that remove too. And now I'm going to go make sure sample on layer is on, because if it's not on, it's not going to take the sample. And you can see I'm just going to do a little circle around. And look what happened here. I'm not sure I like what I have here, so I might go in and put something else in there later. And I'm going to remove this one. So this is what I have right now. I'm going to zoom out. I removed some stuff over here. The rest of the stuff, I want to go back here and do something else with it. So I'm going to go to the two removes. I usually group it. I can also make it into a smart object, but I'm going to group it and I'm going to say remove. And it is removing it from the other area that I have. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the area all the way down here because I did remove, but now I kind of don't like the stuff that I have. So let me try. Why not? I'm going to try to go in to this area, to the door, and I'm going to click on the duplication of the layer. I'm going to call it duplicate. And now while I have it there, it says generative fill. What if I just do generate without saying anything? Let's see what I'm getting right now. So you see, I selected it, and then without getting anything, it's basically kind of removed something that you think, and you got something in there, kind of like sampling from the environment. But if I'm going to go back here and then go in and do the prompt over here, I'm going to say blue old-fashioned door with a copper lock. I don't know why I do it, but let's see if I'm getting something else. So now I'm having another kind of prompt over here, and maybe in the area that I have, I'm getting some kind, and look at that. This is not bad. I could have used something a little bit better. This is also not bad. And then this is really not looking so great over here. But I'm getting in the area that I have here, and I got some kind of old-fashioned door that I had, and then in the old-fashioned door, I have some part of the areas that I have. And I'm going to go and select this area over here, and maybe go and say big planter with red flowers. And let's see if we're getting something on top of the extra area that I have. And then we'll check it out and see if we like it or not. And I'm going to go in and look at that. This is 1 and 2 and 3. And I'm looking at my layers panel, and this is what I have. So I'm going to get one like that. That's the new one that I have. And this is actually the old one that I had over here. So now I have a mask there. So I might go into my mask, and then I'm going to try to play a little bit with the mask, and I'm getting the old stuff from before, or maybe going in to the area that I have and getting some other stuff over here. So this is the before and after. What if I don't like it at all? Could be sometime I don't like the area and I didn't get a good kind of like result. So I might go back here, maybe because I have the remove over there and it doesn't really read the stuff that I have. So basically, I have the remove. I might go back here and kind of duplicate again. And then I'm going to go into the remove. And then if I'm going to go in and merge the two layers together, this is the one with the remove. I could have left even the remove as another kind of file, but now I'm going to get a different kind of effect, which is going to look a lot better. So I'm going to go in and say big blue old-fashioned door with a copper lock. And now I might get. So what happens before, it read the stuff from below, but what I had from the remove, it's actually covered it and it couldn't see it. So you have to kind of look at your layers and see what instruction. Whoa, I have that over here. The copper door is too much. Now I have something that looks like that. And maybe I have a door that looks like this here and looks almost like the other one that you have there. And maybe I want to go and work with it. And this is something that looks a little bit different than the other image that you have. So I do like it. I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to do a solid color. And then I'm going to go in and choose any kind of color. And then I'm going to clip it to the door. And I'm going to go in and play with my multiply mode and overlay mode. If I go in and play with my linear burn, you can see now if I go in and make it lighter, I do have a door over there that's kind of like it's old-fashioned and matching the other stuff that I have. So I can go back here and in the generative fill can do different kind of things. What if we felt like going in and creating just a simple selection? And then I'm going to go back here to the simple selection and I'm going to say brown dog standing, sitting with a bone. Let's see. Do I might get a brown dog? Maybe the selection is a little too small, but maybe I'm gonna get a dog. I'm not gonna take a person because usually people not looking so good. And let's see what I have over here. So I have a dog here. I have another dog and I have another dog. And this is actually not bad. The new one that I have here, it has the bone here, not so cool, but you can see it's really sitting on the stoop over here, and it does look not bad at all. So I do have the dog, and then I'm going to go in and look at my layers panel over here, and then I'm going to on and off, and then you can go back here and just see if you can play a little bit with the stuff. So if I'm going to take away the bone, what you're getting is the rest of the stuff, but it will cut part of his body over here. So because the bone is on top of his body, but if I wanted it, maybe I can go back here and say the dog is sitting, but without a bone. I don't want the bone right now. Let's see if I'm going to get another one. Picky, but you can start playing. And yes, it takes away part of the door over there, depending what you have here. And then the door is sitting here, and another one is sitting, and another one is sitting. So depending which one I like better, I actually like the one with the bone right now. So I'm not going to pay attention to the bone right now, but that's what I have over here. I have like a little guard door standing over here. And then again, I can go in and play with the stuff, and I'm using Generative Fill just to go in and play with it. I might go back to another one over here, and you let me know if there's something actually working. So you can see here, that's why it didn't work with the remove before. Because you see, if I take away the remove from before, you can see that the generative fill is basically kind of like on top of it. But I'm going to go in right now, and I actually going to go to my pen tool, and I'm going to select just the pavement. I'm not actually doing the best selection, but I'm going to select the pavement. And once I have the pavement, I'm going to go to the path, command or control click to load the selection. If I really want to have it for later, I'm going to go in and say save selection and call it pavement. Sometimes I talk too fast and I make the word look a little bit different or sound a little bit different. I know you guys are giggling right now. I know. Instead of pavement, I don't know what I said, but I said something absolutely different. So now let's see, what do you guys want to put in the pavement? So should we do brick and flowers? Should we gonna go and say spring yellow flowers? Should we say grass and flowers? What do you guys think? Yeah, grass and flowers. Absolutely. Thank you. Grass or green grass, maybe. Green grass and yellow and red flowers. Sometimes my main problem here is what kind of prompt I want. And there's a whole page on the Adobe blog giving you suggestion what kind of prompts to use. They wanted you to give it kind of information and sometimes even an action that you can go back here and work with it. And let us see. And yay, look at the grass that I have over here. I have a grass over here. I don't like this one. I have a grass over here. That's not actually bad, but I have some grass over here that brings some kind of green grass and have it again. But I'm going to generate it again. Sometimes if you generate it again with the same prompt, you are actually getting a different kind of thing. Let me walk around a little bit while I'm talking, while it's still doing, and let's see if we can get something else. And I can see you guys getting some awesome designs over here. This is really, really cool, guys. Really cool. Too bad I cannot show it right now, but this is really, really beautiful design you're getting based on the stuff that we have. I'm going to go and look at the rest. And then what if I don't want to have some of the stuff? So you can see I can have stuff like that. And I took away some of the generative. So I have the doggy and I have the flowers. And now I have some kind of grass. Or I can go back here and have the door over here. And then kind of like have the generative AI. But maybe I don't like the blue door over here. So I'm going to go in and make kind of like a red door, and then I'm going to do 100%. And now it's actually matching the colors that I have all the way here. So can you do something else with it later? Let's say now you want to give it a glare, you want to go and create some kind of a filter on top of it. Yes, you can still do other stuff to beautify the area. You can select the windows and have some more stuff in there. Also, you can go in to some areas that you want to go in and remove some stuff, and then go into my remove, and I can go in and remove this area. So now I'm going to go in and have this little brick over there, and I'm changing a little bit the bricks so it looks a little bit better. You can make it less non-destructive by going in and creating another layer that I had before. You can go back here to the side and say, I don't want to have this little area all the way down in the left. I want to have some kind of a brick area. And all of a sudden, you see that the stuff looks absolutely different than before. So if I wanted to kind of like do the before and after, I probably gonna group everything, and then I'm going to go back and move it to the other side and go to image and then reveal all, and then I can show somebody the before and after that happens over here. Once again, you can see here the before and after. So where is it good for also? It's good for immediate building something. Maybe you're an art director and building something for a set, and then you just want to do an immediate one. I'm not saying I'm going to have like a table, I mean, a coffee table high-res interior design book that everything has to be high res and everything in the images has to be picture perfect. And I'm going to do that in Photoshop by selecting stuff perfectly and putting the images that somebody gives me to create the environment. But if I needed to go in and just saw the creator right now on the set, and I'm going to tell him, I kind of want to have the front with kind of red doors all the way down. I don't want to have the planters over there. And the dog is going to sit on the step when the scene starts. And look how fast I did it. And this is where you're doing it for inspiration, for prototyping, and sometime maybe we'll do later for a final project. But a lot of time you're going to do it to work with the idea and work with the stuff that you have. Any question so far? I'm going to show you some other samples in a minute, but any questions? Yes. Where are the images coming from? Great questions. So because we're doing the Adobe Generative AI, it basically linked to Adobe Stock. If you're working with other generative AI, with other kind of software that you have, probably it's taking it from whatever they're taking it, and you're going to, or Shutter, Stock, or anything else, and you know you are paying for every kind of generation. Here it is part of your subscription, and then you have some limitation after a while. I don't know the details exactly, but you can still use it all the time. If anything, it's going to be a little slower if you start using too many images after a while. Great question. Yes. So let's look at some other samples that I have, and then we're going to jump in to another area. I'm going to do another before and after. And over here, what I have here is just the same model that you saw before. But in this case, the prompt that I had over here, when I'm clicking, and I did it a long time ago, but look at that. I still have the prompt, and I wrote leather shirt. That's all what I did. And now I have 1 and 2, which is not looking good, and 3 that I don't want to use, but I'm going to go back here and use that. And then I can go in and I'm going to say leather jacket with turtleneck. Who knows what I'm going to get now? So you can see I'm going to get something a little bit different, even though I did that this like 2 months ago when I started playing with generative AI, or 4 months ago. And now I can go back here and see what I can get. So I didn't really get the right thing that I wanted because maybe the prompt was not on the right area. So I'm going to go into my layers panel, and then I'm going to turn off that. And then I'm going to load the selection. And now what I'm going to do is do another prompt. And I'm going to say turtleneck. I don't know if I'm going to get something, but we'll see. And if not, we always can leave it as is. So you can see you can play with different kind of prompts. You're going to delete the other prompts that you have. And I basically did not get anything good right now because maybe my selection was not great. So I'm just going to let it go. And I'm going to go in to my leather shirt that I had, and I think this one looks as good as it gets. If I wanted to go in and create something else, I can go in and do another selection, and maybe I will do another selection. Maybe I'm going to go in and create a selection over here, and then I'm just going to go in here and say if I'm going to have a dragon tattoo. And let's say if I'm getting something. And sometime, of course, if you do the wrong prompt, if you have a spelling mistake, it's not going to do it. If you're also doing something really, really bad, it's not going to work. But look at that. It just made the dragon tattoo all the way here. and this is what I have over here. So I can't really move it. What does it mean? If I go into the dragon tattoo and put it all the way up, this is what you get. So you have to be really careful because it's not a real selection. So if I go in and move it, this is what I'm getting. So do you see that? That's the stuff and the limitation that you have to think about. Let's look at another stuff that I made. And then I'm going to go back here. And then I'm going to look at some images that I have here. And then let me go back here and see if I can do, because I don't have the sample project over here. And let's say if I have other images that I have before and after. So I have these images over here, and this is kind of like before and after, but you can see over here, I do have different kind of generative fill. I have one with houses. I have another one that has different houses and flowers. I have another one that has a boat over there. And I have another one that has green grass and flowers. So basically the original image look like that right now. And then I made, let's say, a castle all the way, all the top. I added some flowers, something, and then maybe I have an old-fashioned boat over here. I don't want to have the, oh, and I have another castle on the other side and some birds all of a sudden. So now if I save it, and I'm going to go back here, I'm going to zoom into it, and then I have a filter on top of it. But if I take away the filter, you can see that I have a different scenery over here completely, and it was all done with Generative Fill. So now let's look on another part of Generative Fill, which is Generative Extend. So what can you do with Generative Extend? I'm going to do File and Open, and then I'm going to go in, and this is another example that I have over here. Let's say I'm going to open another image, and then let me see over here. I'm going to go back here to another Photoshop image, and then let's see what I have here. No, I don't want to have that. You see, I have problem just choosing the images that I want. And then I have just that. Okay. So here is what I have over here. I have another image that I really love. This is an image that I took from Adobe Stock. I don't know why I like this image so much. Just like it so much. I can't even tell you how much I like it. I like the light. I like the texture. I like so many little things over here. So I can go in, and in this case, maybe I do not want to do any generative fill yet, but I'm going to go over to Generative Extend. So I'm going to go to my crop tool. And when you go to the crop tool, you're going to go also to all the way up in your control, and you have Generative Extend or Content Aware Fill. And I want to show you how both of them are working. So what I'm going to do first, I'm actually, before doing it, I'm actually going to edit, image and duplicate. I'm going to duplicate the image and call this one content, because I want to show you how to extend in different ways, and you're going to see the different kind of images. So I'm going to go into my crop tool, and if I hold down, I'm going to go back to the crop tool, and I'm going to go in, and if I hold down the option key, I can extend it for both sides. So I extended it to both sides over here, and then it says default color over here. I'm going to go into Generative Extend, and I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just going to say generate. And then the machine is going to try to think what's going on in there and basically extend the area that you have. And I did it to both sides, not up and down too. And look what I got over here. I extended the image. Let me just go back here and let's look at it a little bit better. So this is one variation. This is another variation. So this is one that I have the windows, everything. This is another one that the windows are a little bit different. And this one is the windows are a little bit different. So I have to choose which one I like the best. Which one you guys like the best? One, two, or three? I don't know. I don't know what to choose. I think maybe I like the one. Okay, so again, I extended it. I can also extend it a little bit more by going in again. And in this case, I'm going to go back and put it all the way up. And maybe the up area is going to extend as well. And people usually ask me about the resolution. I think the resolution is not as high as the image itself, but it's getting better. And look at what I have over here. I extended the area and it all looks kind of cool. So this one is going to be Generative Extend. So I'm going to go and then let's see, I have another version and another version. I don't want that. I want the one with no kind of that on the sky. So I'm going to do File and Save As. And then I'm going to go back here. And then I'm going to call that Extend. And I have it as an extend. But now I want to show you the other one. So this is the before and after. And this is basically the duplication that I did. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and extend it. And then I'm going to go and extend it to this side over here. And then I'm not going to do generative. I'm going to go in and say content aware fill. And now the machine is going to try to fill in the areas that you have. And is it better? No, not really. Because now I'm looking at the area that I have here. And this is actually what I have. And I shouldn't have done it. I'm going to do Command Z. And then I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to go back here and duplicate the area that I have. And then I'm going to go back here and create the same thing. And I'm going to say content aware. And I'm going to say content aware, and it is going to try to think it for me. And look what I have. I have before and after. Not bad in this one. I have some problem all the way in the sky, but not actually bad. So you don't have to throw away your content aware stuff that you used before. You can still use it for certain things, depending on how you want the image to be. And this one, maybe I'm going to need to fix it a little bit. So I might go back here and let's see what I want to do in this one. So I'm going to call it content aware. So I know what it is. And now I'm going to go to edit and sky replacement. And then it's going to go in and think what's in there. And that's actually the sky that I had before. But maybe I want to have some blue sky. Or maybe I'm going to go in and have some light skies over here. Or maybe I'm going to go in and have spectacular skies coming into this area. And you can see that I have stuff like that. And I can change it and change the brightness and the contrast and everything that I have and click OK. And basically, I have the sky going in there. And this is the before and after. Not bad. So it's another way for you to work without generative fill. And then I'm going to go back here. And then if I want to go in and look at it, I'm going to call it content aware. So it's the same idea, but this time is with content aware. It's all good, right? So you can do generative extend. You can also go to the generative extend and extend it with different kind of thing. Let's see what we're gonna get if we write some kind of a prompt. So I'm gonna go back here and then I'm going to go into the house over here, and we saw it kind of like before. And then I'm going to zoom out to it. And then I'm going to go back here to the generative extend. No, I don't want to do the sides. Yeah, I'm going to do the sides. And let's say, what do we want to go in to the generative expand? I can write something. So I can say brick wall with green planters or with green grass. So maybe I'm going to generative expand it with something that I'm asking to do. Most of the time, I use the generative expand just to expand the image. But in this case, you can see that I'm going to put the green grass over here and look what I'm getting. I'm going to go back here and let's see what I have. So I expanded it like that. Not bad. I get some kind of a brick wall here, and I got some kind of the brick wall over here, which is not bad. So you can see I'm getting different kind of things, and then I can see the before and after in a minute. Before and after. Did a good job for me, actually. Didn't do the brick wall all the way, but kind of expanded it exactly with extra stuff that I have. So it's a little different than the other one, but again, it will do the job. So I'm going to also save that just to have it for me, just to play for another time. And then I'm going to go back here and save that. And then I'm going to call it extend with an prompt. And then I'm going to click OK and do that. So you see so far, different kind of things that I did. I actually can go in and do so many little things with generative fill, and I can create the entire area with different kind of images just to go into generative fill. Now I'm going to go and close all. And then let me see if you guys have any questions. Also, if you found the right images on your desktop, and hopefully you'll be able to do some fun stuff. And based on your faces, I can see that you guys are smiling and then happy. So that's all good. Yes. So we are all working and doing it. And you can see that even if we do the same prompt, we get something absolutely different. So let me show you something different though. Maybe it's not advanced, but it's something different. And like I said, this is something that my friend AJ Wood from Adobe showed it to me one day in one of our events. And he had another artist showing it to him, and he showed it to us. And that's how we use the creative mind, right? We are looking at what each other is doing. And the whole idea is give each other the credit and then start taking it to a different level. So at the moment, I am actually using something that he used, but then I can go in and do something that I want. So I'm going to go to File and Open. And then I'm going to go to an area that says Sample Drawing. And then I'm going to go in and click on this image that I have over here. And then I'm going to open it. So I'm going to go and open this image. And it was done in Photoshop. I did not draw it. I got it from my friend. And what you can see over here is basically, and I'm going to call it image. And it was done with just brushes. That's all what it done. It was just done with tiny little brushes. a blob of painting on a flat area that you have. So now, while I'm having it here, I'm going to go to draw in a quick mask mode. When you do a quick mask mode, is basically you are drawing with your mask. So I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to go to my paint bucket, and I'm going to fill the quick mask mode with a kind of, I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to go in and fill that with 30% opacity. So you can see I have a red glare over here. And then if I go into my channel panel and I will save it, basically this is the quick mask mode. You can see it's over here. And if I had it 100%, it will be a really red glare on top of it. So when you draw and kind of select with a quick mask mode, you have to turn it into a selection in order to do something with it. So I'm going to go in, and in order to turn it to the selection, you click on the quick mask mode again, and now you have the image, and you can see in the channel panel, I'm no longer having the quick mask mode because it is a temporary view. Now I'm going to go to Generative Fill and tell it to look at the painting and do something based on the area. So I'm going to put a prompt, and I'm going to say, lake at sunset, tree in foreground. And I could have done anything else over here. And then you can see that in a minute, you're going to get something created by Generative Fill. And look what I have over here. So it's basically took the stuff that I had, figure out the colors and everything, and then look what I have here. I have another one over here, and I have another one over here. I generated that to it. How cool is that? Awesome, right? So if you want to try something like this right now, open Photoshop and do something. I'm going to go and show you what I mean. I'm going to go in and open Photoshop, File and New, and then I'm going to open a file over here. Let's say this is what I have over here. And then I'm going to fill the color, the background, let's say with white. And now I'm going to go to my brush. And I can go into a big brush. And depending on what I have, let's say I'm going to go and draw something. And then I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to draw something else. And then maybe I'm going to go in and do a blob with a green tree somewhere, and then just put it in here. So I'm just trying something. I'm not sure I'm going to get the same idea. I'm going to go back to my quick mask mode. And then I'm going to go into my bucket, and I'm going to fill it with a color 30%, because it's basically going to take 30% from the brightness and the contrast of it. And then I'm going to make it into a selection. And now, do I want to have the same prompt? I'm going to say lake at sunset and a tree. Let's see where I get now. Or maybe I'm going to call it blue sky with a brick foreground and a big drink tree. And look what I'm getting now. Absolutely something different what I had here, right? Something different. What if I wanted to go in and do a different prompt? So I'm going to say blue skies with a brick dirt road in front and a big green tree. I made a little bigger prompt over here, and my drawing was absolutely different. And you can see that it will take the image that you have and then create something. So I'm not crazy about it. This actually looks like a children drawing, but look at that. That we have something like this, and this one have some a brick pyramid and something like going in there. I'm gonna go into the other one that I just made, and I'm gonna go into my layers, and then I'm gonna turn off the one I just did, and I have another one that was done before, and basically that's the same one. And then the next one that you have is basically maybe a different kind of prompt. And if I look at it, it says lake at sunset with a large leafy tree in the background. So you can see here the large leafy tree in the foreground. And then let's say if we have another one, and this one, if I'm going to my properties, lake and sunset with a tree in front. So each one we did something else, but it will take actually the prompt and the colors that we have, and then we'll make another kind of image from it. How cool is that? So you can basically create any drawing. Let's do another one. All of them that I have right now is basically, and then when I named it, it basically all of them for my friend, but maybe I made one also. But I'm gonna go back and open this guy over here, and look what you have over here. In the layers panel, basically I do have the background. And then I have one kind of prompt over here. And if I'm looking, it says scent pathway through a dune grass leading to the beach at sunset. So this one is way a longer one. And then you can see different ones. And another one, and another one. And then maybe I have something else over here. And this one, let's see the prompt. I'm going to go back here. And then this one is just another layer on top. So it's nothing actually, it's the layer that we have already. And then on top of that was a different kind of digital drawing. So basically it says digital drawing. So what does it mean? You can copy the final one and then just go in and do something else with it. So let's look, let's say in this one. I'm going to go into this one that I have, and I'm going to copy it. And now I'm going to go back here. Then I'm going to say digital watercolor drawing. So it might take what I have and think about something that it's going to look like a digital drawing. So if you don't want to go to any kind of filters, you can try to go in and look at that. I kind of like it. Look at what I have here. A digital drawing as a watercolor. What I have over here, this is the regular one. So I'm going to go into the regular one. And then I might go in and start working with an overlay mode, a multiply mode, maybe into a darken mode. And all of a sudden, the image actually, what do you guys think? It does start looking like maybe kind of watercolor. I wanted to say a bad watercolor because I'm really bad in watercolor. That's not something that I do a lot. I think watercolor is a really difficult technique because if you do have some kind of mistakes, it's very kind of hard to play with it. So now what do I have on top of it? I have another image. If I'm going to go in and have another one on top of that with different kind of blending mode, you kind of see the mishmash of both of them. But what else could I have done with it? I could have gone into, let's say, do I like that or not? I don't know if I like this one. Let's say I like this one more. I can go back here to the one that I liked and basically select, or maybe I'm going to go in. No, I don't like this. I like this one better. I'm going to hold on the command key and select the image. and then go in and select the other generative fill. And I'm going to go in and make that into a smart object. So basically, this is the smart object that I have over here. And then it is the generative field that contains both of the stuff that you have. So yes, now I can go to one of my filter. I can actually go to a simple filter. I'm going to go to, let's say, oil paint. I could have done generative fill and oil paint to it right now, but when I'm going to go to oil paint right now as a filter, I can go and play with it. And then if I click OK, you can see that I have just the filter on top of it, and I can decide how I want to go and play with it and just have the filter on it. The other one that I want to go back here, I'm going to select all and then generative fill, and I'm going to say oil paint. And let's say if it's going to take the stuff that I have and make that into like an oil paint that you have. You can also experiment with different kind of opacity. And look what I got here. It just took it what I have because I don't have any mask or anything on it, but I just have some oil paint, which I actually love it right now, right? Because look at this. It gives you also a background for something. And now you can start having different kind of background that you're going to create from the image that you have below. And yes, if you're going to go in to some kind of blending mode, you can start blending the element and start putting them together. But also what you want to do is you want to start experimenting with different kind of opacity when you're doing the mask that you have. You can also go in and fill it a little bit different kind also of paintings that you have, and try experimenting with it to get the result that you want to get. What do you guys think? Yeah, it's kind of thinking outside of the box to create some different things that you want. And based on that, you can go in and create anything. And then you can create different kind of even drawing or anything that you have and just fill that with the mask. And then the machine is kind of try to think about what you have and then start playing with it. So you can start experimenting. Any thoughts right now? Let's play a little bit more with what you have. And then actually, we did a lot of the stuff over here in Photoshop already. So what I wanted to jump over and look at, I kind of wanted to go in just to give you an overview, because some of you said that they never actually saw Firefly. So I'm going to go into a new window and I'm going to say Adobe Firefly. And by the way, if you guys are starting to use Adobe Express, within Adobe Express, also we do have Firefly over here. And then it's just going to go in and show you what's going on over here. And then you can see here, create with Firefly. You can create text. You can say text to image. You can go in and create something that's showing you, use a brush to remove an object or paint a new one over here. And then you can see that. And then you can go in and do different kind of things. In exploration, 3D to image. In exploration, it is that's kind of like a sneak peek for it. So we're not going to go and look at it. But I'm going to go back here and go in and say text to image. So this is kind of like you can start here and then just take it to Photoshop and then superimpose it on something else that you do. And based on that, start looking at the stuff that you have. So let's say I'm going to go into this image and I'm going to look at what I have over here. So let's investigate what we have over here. So what you have over here is kind of like what you have is the model version that you have over here. And then all the way down, look at the prompt that I have. And it's really, really tiny all the way down. And it says, ruined Greek temple next to a lake surrounded by hills of photorealism, a small village in a cross lake. Whoa, it's a lot of stuff that's going on in here. So I can go back here and then I can start changing something. I'm going to make that into a square. And then I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to make that into digital art. And maybe take something away from the one that you have here. I added digital art, and then I can go back here and do some stuff with warm tone, and then I'm gonna say golden. And then in the area over here of the photo setting that I have, I can try playing a little bit with the field of view and then just play with that. And I have some advanced setting. And again, I'm going to go back here and you can see like at the word what to exclude or thing like this. But I'm just going to leave it as is. And I'm going to go in and just click. And now because I did some changes, it will go in and change the stuff that I have and make it look a little bit different. And now look what I'm getting, something a little bit different than the one before. And if you recall, I asked it to be a square. It wasn't a square before, but I did ask it to be a square. And I have different kind of images over here. And then I can go back and decide which one I want to do. I can go in and edit it in Generative Fill or something generate similar. I can use it as a style preferences for something else that I'm using later. I can apply a filter. I can remove the background. I can add text and more. And on the right side, what I have, if I click over here, I can just download it. I can also copy the link. I can copy the image. Yes, I can open it in Adobe Express and also submit it to the Firefly community and save it maybe to my library. So I'm going to save it to my library, and then which library I'm going to go and have, I'm going to continue, and it is going to save it to one of the libraries that I have. And then which one I want to save it, I'm going to save it to the Adobe Express library, because I did have an Adobe Express library over there. But I might also go back here and let's see if we want to go in and just download the image. And then in the download image, it is going to go in and tell you some stories here that content credential will apply to people to know it was generated in AI. The content credential will note when your creation used as a reference image. So I'm okay with it. I'm going to go and continue. And now I'm jumping over to Photoshop. So I'm going to do File and Open. And then I think I put it in my download. And now I can go in and start working with the stuff that I have. So I can change it now, but that's kind of like my base image and I can start working. So maybe I'm going to edit and then I'm going to go back here to my edit and sky replacement. And you can see I got it to the sky over here. And then it is kind of fuzzy because the entire image is kind of like fuzzy because that's what it was created. But so I'm going to go into a different kind of sky over here. And I chose the sky that has some kind of fuzzy kind of color for it. And then it has a rainbow in the sky. It's kind of like maybe a rainy, fuzzy day that you have over here. I'm going to shift the edges a little bit. I'm going to fade the edges if I want. And then I can play with the brightness or contrast. I want to leave it with some kind of a fuzzy look that I have. And then I'm going to go back here and look at the background and also make it as a new layer. So you can see I do have that, but I can also go in here and change the stuff that I have. So what if I go in and I don't want to have this little house over here? I don't want to have the reflection. Not in the mood for that right now. And I shouldn't have done it right now because I should have gone first. And then I'm going to go back here and then deselect, and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to go to my selection tool, and I'm going to go and say fuzzy in the generate. I'm going to go in and generate that, and now we will try to take it away. Maybe, or maybe it can take it away. I don't know. And let's see what we're getting here. So you see here, I got it over here, which is not bad. And then I have it something like that. And then I actually like it because all of a sudden I have some kind of maybe a reflection that not really, it's almost like an abstract reflection. I might go into the area here and then, yes, you can go back here and then I can go to, I don't need to do a rectangle. I don't know why I made a rectangle, but this is kind of my reflections that I have. And then I'm going to go first to the castle over here and select that. And then I'm going to go and say old-fashioned castle with light in the windows. And let's say if I'm getting something. So now I got something a little bit different, and I have the old-fashioned castle and light in the window. So yes, in this case, it doesn't really look like the reflection, but in this case, it might work a little bit for me, for my advantage, because I have kind of a fuzzy reflection. But if I wanted to build a reflection right now, I basically gonna need to do a Photoshop job over here. So basically, this is what you have. And I'm going to go back here and zoom into it and then kind of go in and select the area exactly the way it is. So if I go back here, this is basically what I have over here. So I might go back here and then click on the selection and select it a little bit better. And it doesn't want to select it over here as good as it gets. But I'm going to go back here and kind of see if it is going to select it a little bit better. I selected it a little bit better. And then basically what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to go back here and go to select and mask. And then maybe in going to select and mask, I'm going to go back to the area and put it on white. And then I'm going to go in and do in the global refinement, I'm going to shift the edges. And then I'm going to feather it. And then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go in and bring everything that I have. And now I might go and fix the selection on top of the image that I have. So I'm going to go and make a selection. And yes, I do have the reflection over here right now. So now I can go back here and kind of move it. And then I'm just going to go back here to edit. And then I'm going to transform. I'm going to go and flip it. And then whilst I'm flipping it, I'm going to put it something here. Oh, I didn't flip it okay. That's okay. I'm deselecting. I'm flipping it. And then I'm flipping it. And now I can change the opacity. And now I might even change the blending mode and then go back here and make it fuzzy. And I have the new one that I just made. And that's going to be kind of like my new castle. And my old one, I just take it away. And then this one is the one that I have over here. And I have a different kind of image with the right kind of castle that I have. So another way of doing it, like I said before, you can start in Firefly, and then you can go from Firefly, you can go directly into Photoshop and do different kind of things. I can also go back here to Firefly over here, and I can go back here, and then you can see there's a lot of stuff going on over here. And then I can go all the way up here and just do something absolutely different. So I can go in to something that I have and then create a prompt that I have. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to say a castle in the mountains with golden roof. And then let's see if I get it here and what can I do with the stuff. And it shows me that I had some mistakes over here by typing with it, but I get some kind of idea. And you can see that I have the castle over here, and I can start working with the castle and then changing it to different kind of things. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to go to the colors, and then I'm going to do warm tone. Maybe I want it black and white. So if I want it black and white, I'm going to generate and start something for black and white, make it like a drawing, bring a filter into it, and start working. And here it is. And look at that. I can go in, download it, and then bring it back to Photoshop and start working. So now just to sum it up, the things that we just did today, if I'm going to go back here to my small looking presentation, basically we're looking at going and taking out photographs in Photoshop and then creating some stuff with generative AI. And really, we talked about the generative fill. We talked about generative extend with different things that you can do. We looked at how do you create the stuff that you have, how do you expand, and also using the improve the remove tool. And then we played a little bit with the guided text prompt. And basically what I did, I created an image with a brush tool. You set the foreground and background to a default, which is black and white. Enter the quick mask mode and set opacity to 30%. Click anywhere on the screen, exit quick mask mode, and type and prompt that relate. And you can see here the before and after what I'm getting. And then we did a little brief kind of overview in Adobe Firefly. And at the moment, you can see that in Photoshop and Illustrator. You can see that in Adobe Express, and you just have it as a web application. So, and in the end, I have different kind of links over here so you guys can go in and learn a little bit more about machine learning and Adobe Firefly and using that in Photoshop. So any question before, because we are at the top of the hour, and see if you guys have any questions for what we did today. I'm looking at you guys, you're looking back at me, and as usual, you're smiling, I'm smiling. No questions? Are you guys okay? Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. It was really a pleasure to be and spend 2 hours with you guys here today. And be creative. Visit me anytime on Thursday. I'm usually here from 4 to 8, teaching the Adobe certified classes. I have my office hour between 3 to 4. You always can come over and check with me and ask questions. And I think the next seminar that I'm doing is leveraging generative AI for illustration in Adobe Illustrator. And that's going to be on March 7 on Thursday. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon, and I will post the recording.